Okay, good morning. Welcome to Math Ideas 32. Today we're doing some more Duplo math.
Yep.
Okay. Alright, so we're going to have to pretend a little bit on this one. Are you ready to pretend?
Yeah.
Okay, pretend this little structure that we've made that's four cubes tall, 4 cubes wide, and 4 cubes long.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? 4, 4, 4. Pretend the whole thing is blue. Can you pretend that?
Yeah.
Alright, what color is it?
Blue.
How about over here?
Blue.
What about this one?
Blue.
Good. Okay, one last test to make sure everything's going well. What color is this?
Blue.
Good. Good pretending. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the whole thing, every side of it, including the top and the bottom, and we're going to paint it these colors. Okay, so it starts out blue, and we're going to take paint on the outside of the cube, and we're going to paint everything on the outside and the top and the bottom some other color, not blue. Okay? Alright, so we're going to paint this one green, paint that one white, paint that one red, we're going to paint that one red, paint that one green. You see?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And the question is, when we take this apart, how many of these cubes are going to still be painted blue? Because there's going to be some cubes on the inside, right, that never got painted? Okay, so let's see if we can figure this out. Well, you know what we need to probably figure out first? How many cubes are there in the whole thing to begin with? Do you remember how tall it is?
4 tall.
Okay, do you remember how wide it is?
4 wide.
Remember how long it is?
4 long.
Okay, so how are we going to figure out how many cubes there are here?
Well, that's a tough question.
It is a tough question. Do you see a way we could make it a little bit easier?
Well, we could take some of the cubes off.
Well, if we were going to take some of them off, where would be a good place to start?
Maybe on the corners.
We can take more than that off.
How about a side?
Yeah, how about a side? How about either this side, or how about the top layer? Okay, would you rather take this side off or the top layer?
Top layer.
Okay, so how many cubes are on the top layer?
$16 cubes.
16, very good. How did you figure that out?
I counted.
Awesome. Okay, so there's four rows of 4, so it's 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay? Now, how many layers are there that are just like the top layer? For example, if we take the top layer off, we'll have another layer down below it that's just like it. It's also going to have 16 cubes. And if we take that layer off, we're going to have a layer just like it below. So how many layers are there?
It's 4 layers.
Okay, and each one of them has 16 cubes, right? And that's going to be all of them. So we have to figure out what 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 is.
That's a tough question.
Well, let's start with 16 plus 16. That'll be easier. That'll give us the first 2. So can you figure out what 16 plus 16 is?
$33.
Oh, so super close. Let's see, 16 plus 16. First we have to do 10 plus 10, then we have to do 6 plus 6. What's 10 plus 10?
20.
What's 6 plus 6?
12.
What's 20 plus 12?
$32.
32. Okay, so the first 2 layers have 32. Now the next 2 layers below that, how many do you think they're going to have? Those are the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the first 2 layers have 32, the last 2 layers are going to have 32.
Yeah. Yeah, the question is, what is 32 plus 32?
That is the question. Exactly. So 32 plus 32, if we're going to have to add a really hard number like that, how should we do that?
Well, maybe we can split it up and add it up again.
Yeah. So what's the first thing we add when we do 32 plus 32? First we add
30, then we add 2.
Okay, each time. So 32 plus 32 is the same as 30 plus 2 plus 30 plus 2. So we do 30 plus 30, which is
60.
And 2 plus 2, which is
4.
So 32 plus 32 is
64.
64. Wow, there's 64 cubes here. Okay, now we have to figure out how many don't have any paint on them. Okay, and you remember what color they are if they don't have any paint on them? What color did all the cubes start out as?
Blue.
Blue. So if they don't have any paint on them, they're still going to be
Blue.
Blue, okay? So how many on the top layer are going to stay blue if we paint everything on the outside?
None.
None. Okay? Now here's the tricky question. How many on the middle layer are going to stay blue?
Well, the 16 cubes on the outside are going to say blue.
Okay, well yeah, you're right. The 16 cubes over here are going to stay blue, but we're talking about the second layer down here. You want to take some off and see?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, can you see over here? Oh, wait. Only take the top one off. It's a little tricky, I know. Okay, so have you seen any that stayed blue yet? Ooh, this is tricky to get these off.
Yeah.
Have you seen any that stayed blue yet? Anywhere?
Yeah, there's only 4 that stayed blue. It's going to be the same thing with the other layers.
Okay, well wait a minute. Let's not jump ahead of ourselves. So how many stayed blue? How many
4.
of those? 4. Now why did those stay blue?
Have no paint on them.
Why don't they have any paint on them?
They're in the middle, so you can't paint them unless you take the bricks off.
Right, they were covered up by other bricks. Okay. So what about on the next layer down? How many do you think on the next layer down are going to stay blue?
4.
4. Now here's the really tricky one. Remember, we painted everything on the bottom too. Like we could pick the cube up and paint everything on the bottom. So how many on the bottom are not going to be painted? The bottom's kind of just like the top.
4.
Well, what do you think? If we pick up and we paint everything on the bottom, how many on the bottom don't get painted?
None.
None. They all get painted on the bottom. So we have 4 bricks in the second layer that didn't get painted. How many bricks do we have on the third layer that didn't get painted?
4.
4. And how many on the bottom that didn't get painted?
None.
None. So how many didn't get painted?
8 didn't get painted.
8 didn't get painted. Here's what it looks like that didn't get painted. Now look, that's a little cube, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's a little 2x2 cube. Can you believe that?
No.
Was that exciting?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good job today. So, how many are in that 2x2 cube? That's the last question.
4 cubes.
Are you sure? Count them.
No, 8.
8, right. 8 are in that little 2x2 cube. Do you remember how many were in our 4x4 cube? In the beginning?
64.
64. Awesome. Good job, sweetie.